INFOWARS Nightly News. It is Tuesday, May 13th, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, Joe Biden's son is appointed to the board of Ukraine's largest gas producer. Then, a reminder that the Obama administration has killed many more children than Boko Haram. And police tase a grandmother at a birthday party. That's next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
And because you act like a bunch of naive chumps, this whole thing's gonna come down on us.
Well, the world has been watching the situation unfold in the Ukraine. Of course, that comes with a lot of questions. Were the globalists involved in overthrowing the democratically elected government there? Did George Soros and the State Department have their hand helping to install the current junta that is, of course, being led by a bankster? It's just a shell game that we have been highly suspicious of since the beginning. And, of course, letting you know that they are definitely the U.S., the West, the banksters, the globalists. They're all there for their own political motivations. And here, just further evidence of that, Joe Biden's son has just been appointed to the board of Ukraine's largest gas producer. That's right. The global elite do not waste any time trying to disguise their efforts to gobble up Ukraine's natural resources. Now, Hunter Biden will lead the legal team of Burisma Holdings. They're the largest natural gas producer in Ukraine. Biden is a lawyer with insider connections to the financial industry and the government. See, it's not just Harry Reid's sons who are enjoying all that nepotism. Now, large transnational corporations like agricultural giant Cargill and Monsanto have joined the effort to improve the investment climate on the Russian border. This effort was spearheaded by the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation, which is a nonprofit NGO funded in part by ExxonMobil, Coca-Cola, and Raytheon. But of course, the government continues their gaslighting, saying, no, we're not there to line our own pockets. It's not politically motivated. We want to help the people of the Ukraine. We're just there to help the people. Now, just last month, Joe Biden was in Ukraine. He was there, of course, to show support for the junta that's led in part by fascists and ultra-nationalists. Prior to his mission, a White House rep said, there are currently ongoing threats to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the most effective response to that is for all of Ukraine to pull together. Now, beyond all of that standard political rhetoric about democracy and freedom, Biden's trip was really about securing the proper investment climate in the Ukraine. That's what that was actually about, as well as accelerating the construction of a new pipeline. Where have we heard that scenario before? You know, they did the same thing with Syria. They wanted to help those Syrian children. Really, it was about the pipeline. Now, this is the exact same reason that we're all of a sudden hearing about Boko Haram. Boko Haram hasn't been, you know, just recently kidnapping and killing school children. This has been going on for years. And of course, globalists, now they have their designs on all of the resources there in Africa. So they're using their typical ploy of tugging on the heartstrings of humanitarian intervention, which of course will lead to military intervention. And of course, this will all be obvious when you look at how the activity of the IMF and the World Bank in Nigeria, they've been there, and despite Nigeria being really rich in oil, most of the people there live on less than $2 a day, and that's because all of the wealth is being transferred to these transnational companies, namely Shell. And the Nigerian people themselves are then exploited, raped, tormented, and intimidated by the Nigerian state. Now, suspiciously, the IMF managing director, Christine Lagarde, was in Nigeria just days before the Nigerian president, Jonathan Goodluck, removed fuel subsidies. When he did that, it tripled the cost of fuel and caused widespread unrest. And in response to that fuel subsidy cut, Occupy Nigeria formed in 2012, and of course, political activism really took off. Now, F. William Engdahl writes, the IMF and Washington have forced one of the poorest economies in Africa to impose a huge tax on its citizens on the implausible argument that it will help eliminate corruption in the state petroleum sector. Now, of course, the IMF knows that the elimination of subsidies isn't going to do anything to stop corruption in high places. And more than government corruption, the move, according to Engdahl and others, is an effort to undercut China and sabotage its efforts to build an oil refinery in the country. And just to underscore these points that, yes, the globalists do have their eye on Africa and they do have plans for exploiting their natural resources even more, let me remind you about the Bilderberg Agenda from 2013. There they had a vague reference to Africa's challenges. So when I saw that, I knew indeed that this year we would definitely be seeing some globalist reach into the country. Now, they've been exploiting Africa forever, giving the states just a little bit of power so that they can oppress their people and keep the people fighting amongst themselves so they won't actually fight the real enemy there. So, you know, they've definitely got their globalist agenda. We know what starts at Bilderberg changes the world. You know, no, it doesn't. It's just a meeting of the minds. They're just out there playing golf. They're not, you know, planning to destroy countries and take them down. And also to just continue pointing out that this is a globalist, their globalist plan. It doesn't have anything to do now with radical Islamists, which is what we're hearing being pushed now in the mainstream media. Again, radical Islam, it's like the catch-all, the go-to. If you really want to ramp people up to go to war, you say, oh, got to get those Islamic terrorists. Now, even though Clinton said years ago that she fought to not put Boko Haram on the terrorist list. Now, others are starting to ask questions about this. They're saying it's all a little suspicious. For starters, the number of the girls who were taken away by the self-described Islamist radical Boko Haram, it keeps changing. First, it was 129 girls that were rescued, then 121, and 8 were missing. Then the next day, they said none had been rescued at all. No collective photos of the girls appears to exist. The girls who did manage to escape, they have conflicting reports of when they were actually taken. A week ago, police stated that 276 girls remain missing and 53 escaped, and this number could change again, according to the commissioner, because it's hard to say how many girls were there, since so many girls from different schools were taking their exams in this one place. And this place happens to be an area where all the other schools in the area shut down, because Boko Haram had been slaughtering school children there. They had been slaughtering school children, so they shut all the other schools down, and then they announced that they're going to be holding these exams for all the girls to come and take their tests at this one particular school. Of course, that's just going to set them up as a target. So all of these things are causing many Nigerians to ask questions, and then they're saying that the Nigerian government is engaging in counter-propaganda. But, of course, now it has caught the attention of celebrities. It's global attention. They've got their hashtag Bring Back Our Girls with Michelle Obama out there. So now they can really push for this. But former Congressman Alan West has questioned the timing of this, saying that it's fishy. And now the Obama administration wants to focus on this group all of a sudden. He pointed out that the incident didn't just happen. And he reminded us that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, refused to declare Boko Haram a terrorist organization. And he suggests the White House is trying to divert attention from Benghazi and all the other scandals that are facing the administration, saying we are witnessing an Obama wag the dog moment.
Put the village behind her.
Give me some flames, some sound of screaming.
That's good. We can link that to the press. They can downlink it on Telstar 401 Transporter 21.
And this just in, a Newsbreak special report from the Albanian front. We've just received information that the young Albanian national fleeing in this video is attempting to escape terrorist reprisals in her village.
So wag the dog, it's a perfect example. This is what they do time and again. They use these diversion tactics. They prop up the rebel groups that are there destabilizing the country so then they can go in and intervene militarily. It's all a tactic that they use, and we actually saw it here domestically with Sandy Hook.
Alex, we've never had a time in our history where Sandy Hook, a school massacre, the biggest illusion ever portrayed by Homeland Security and FEMA, it can bring down the house. I think America, I cannot tell America, this is probably our only chance to unite and come together and look for the truth. And this house needs to fall, because Sandy Hook taking away our guns across the country. Sandy Hook is messing with our freedom of speech. That's not the America that you and I know, Alex.
And they raise hundreds of millions of dollars, billions in the case of 9/11, collecting money off of people's goodwill and then giving it to anti-gun groups. The United Way is an anti-gun cesspit.
It is, and I hope nobody ever donates another dime to United Way until they answer every question.
So there it is, in your face, pseudo-reality, totally fabricated, but that never stops the globalists. If you actually wake up to their fabrication, they don't care. They're just going to keep plugging away at their takeover and just hammering it in your head that you aren't trendy or you're racist if you question any of their policies. Now, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, a few months back. Now, Glenn Greenwald is saying the exact same thing. He says when Hillary Clinton becomes president, you're going to be sexist if you question her policies. Just like, you know, if you question Obama, you're a racist. Well, now they're putting in Hillary, crying sexism if you question any of her policies. And he's convinced that she's going to be president. Western women will fully back her. And you can already see how they're really ramping up the whole feminist movement to prop up this situation, to make you feel like if you question her, then you're not trendy, you're a racist, sexist, bigot. Greenwald goes even further and says that it's going to be really funny when after Hillary, they will elect a gay president. So they can just keep using this same tactic over and over again to oppress your freedom of speech and let you know that you're just committing thought crime if you question this pseudo-reality that they're putting out there. And that is exactly what we do here at INFOWARS. We expose the globalists, we expose their plans, we want to wake you all up to this pseudo-reality that they're trying to fabricate around all of us. It's time for all of us to stop falling for their tactics and look beyond this false reality and see that it's all just part of the machine. Now, coming up later in the show, we're going to expose the true bosses running this police state that has gone wild. And then Wolfgang Halbig, he confronts some of these out-of-control police who are proving that they're not out there protecting you or I and working to serve and protect the citizens of the United States of America. They are there to serve and protect the globalist corporations that are running this country and this world. Now, that's coming up right after this.